problem.
We're going to do a short video today. Mike and I have been going over each other's work, what we're printing up for the exhibit, Two Photographers' Works in Progress. And we've had really quite an interesting conversation today, showing each other's work and kind of doing a little criticism and sharing of ideas and sharing of perspectives. And there's one concept that runs through both of our works, and I actually blogged about this. It's maybe been, well, it was actually last Saturday, so exactly a week ago from today of when I blogged about it. And it was some thoughts about photography and the way I think about photography and what I try to accomplish through photography. So I'm just going to read a couple of sentences from that, and then I think Mike and I are going to talk about it. I want to get his opinion on it. When I'm photographing, I feel and sense the spirit of what I'm seeing. That's a big part of it. What I'm looking at, there's something coming into my head, into my heart of what I'm seeing. That being said, trying to recreate my feelings and perception through a lens and onto a negative, and in Mike's case for this project, also onto a memory card if you're working with digital medium, and then onto the final print, is incredibly difficult and frustrating because you can see and feel things, but trying to actually get it onto the final print is the challenge that a photographer has to be self-expressive with this medium. So Mike, do you have any thoughts on that concept?
I would agree. It's always the difficult part, the aspect of a fine art photography is trying to, like you say, transmit the emotion, the reaction of our subject matter, whatever it is we're photographing, and transmit that through the camera onto the print, and hopefully the viewer, while sometimes we want to leave the image perhaps somewhat open to interpretation or more than one interpretation or reaction, we still usually want to try to have the viewer react in a similar fashion as to what our reaction was to viewing the scene, as to whatever it may have been, and perhaps sometimes, depending on what we're photographing, what it was we originally intended perhaps to say or feel or have the viewer feel in reacting to the image.
I think that's really a good point, because that's the next step. It's like you're saying, when the photographer gets onto the paper, what he or she feels is the proper interpretation of what they saw and felt when they tripped that shutter. Then it's a great point you make, because the next step then is the perception of the viewer, and then at that point it really does become the viewer's prerogative for whatever they think about it. Now the photographer may choose to do some writing, as I think both of us are on this about this exhibit, trying to explain a little bit about what we're trying to accomplish, so we guide them a little bit. But ultimately, they have to make up their own mind about what they're seeing, and hopefully then the images and what we're trying to convey to them provokes thoughtfulness on their part and makes them contemplate what we're trying to say, and does that affect them in their lives and their perceptions of the world. That's kind of high-minded, maybe, but if that's not what we're trying to do, then really all we would be trying to do would be relate a pretty picture to somebody, and I don't think that's either really what you and I have been all about with our work.
Right. I think both of us, or at least in my case also, I've tried to make some of my images or edit them in such a fashion so that a wide variety of people can relate to the images from their own experiences, while at the same time communicating what the image meant to me at the time, or what a series or the body of work of the images meant to me at the time, and what are the story, in a sense, that I'm trying to put forward for this particular exhibit.
Yeah, I think that's really an excellent point too, and that's something we were talking about earlier over coffee. Is that I felt the strength of your work is your personal perception of the place where you grew up. What you're showing is not nostalgia, it's not pretty pictures, it's a perception of what has happened to your hometown and how that personally has affected you and how you personally see that. And that's what the strength comes through of your work, where I'm kind of the opposite way. I'm a traveler and I'm an outsider in the areas that I went to in my Truth and Perceptions project, and I was reacting to what I saw, internally as a reaction of what I had seen externally, where yours is much more of a personal nature. And I think that's a real interesting dichotomy to present to the viewers, two different ways of looking at things.